Welcome to the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green. This podcast is a safe place for us to have weekly discussions about mental health, Christ, personal development, and the tools to live our best lives. Please stay tuned for a new episode. So hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Mentally Whole podcast. I am your host, Lauren Green, and this is episode 18. I thought it was 19, but y'all know I get the numbers mixed up all the time. So don't forget to share, rate, review, and like the podcast. Also subscribe to the podcast if you are a Apple user, so you can get notifications when I upload a new episode. Also, don't forget to fill out the listeners survey. I actually read those surveys that you guys submit, so I will leave the link in the show notes. So please fill it out. I actually do read them, and I like reading you guys' responses. So today's episode is called Reflect. So I know we've talked a lot about reflection in the episode about 2020 goals and things like that, but I wanted to reiterate that again because I think it's what's needed as we go into 2020. So the first time I ever heard about reflection was when I was a counseling student as an intern. As a grad student, that's when I learned a lot about reflection. So reflection is important. So even though I was a counseling student and learning how to counsel other people, I learned a lot about myself throughout the counseling program. And one of the things I learned was the importance of reflection. So reflection means to think deeply or carefully about. Some of the synonyms for reflection are to think about, consider, study, contemplate, or put on one's thinking cap. I like that one because it makes me think of elementary school. And they also used to say put on our listening cap or thinking cap or whatever cap that we had to put on. So the one thing that I love about self-reflection is that it is a sign of growth. And I only say that because when you're able to ask yourself the hard questions, you learn a lot about yourself, right? Not everybody can ask themselves the hard questions, because when you ask yourself the hard questions, you're facing the mirror that's in front of you, which is you. You're facing the person that's in the mirror when you ask yourself the hard questions. When you reflect, you also gain understanding about your emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, right? You're able to recognize change and track your own progress. You identify places where you can improve to become better. This is a big one. So sometimes I'll ask myself, like, what could I have done better during that conversation? Or what could I have done better when I served at church? What could I have done better, at my job? How could I be a better friend to this person? I ask myself the hard questions all the time. Or, girl, like, why are you doing this? Like, sis, why are we doing this? Like, why are we doing this? And also self-reflection helps you get to the root of the matter. It also helps you to just dive deep. You know what I'm saying? And we honestly should reflect every day. Like, okay, what do I need to do today? Like, how did that make me feel? And so a lot of my reflection happens when I write, right? So I journal all of the time. So that usually happens. A lot of my reflecting happens when I journal, but it also happens when I talk to my friends or people that I consider safe spaces, right? So a lot of reflecting happens then as well. And also a lot of reflecting happens when I pray, like, you know what, God, I didn't like what so-and-so did, and I'll be like, why didn't I like it? right? So this is a short episode today. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I pray this has blessed you. Start practicing self-reflection every day. And I hope you guys have a great holiday.